books. I feel like some of the books I'm reading today don't have very good blurbs, but I will tell you about it. So basically, Rita's mom dies, and she goes through her mom's belongings, and she finds a suitcase that belonged to her dad, who left when she was a teenager, and she didn't know very much about his past or about him. And she knew that he had scars and had trauma and had left Poland after World War II. He didn't want to talk about it, so now she's finding like photos of him and rusted tags with a prisoner number and identity cards and all this stuff. And so it's about basically her dad's life and how she found out about it and finally got to talk about it. But I guess at the age of 13, his hometown was decimated by bombs. When he was 15, he was distributing anti-Nazi propaganda, and he lied about his age to join the resistance and fight the enemy. He was fatally wounded, taken into captivity, and sent to a German prisoner of war camp. Finally escaped and was rescued by American forces, and all of that was before he was out of his teens. And then I guess he ended up talking about it finally. So yeah, and then there's him as a teen, and there's her and her dad. This is a book for my mom. She was getting rid of it, and I haven't read it. Obviously, this is nonfiction, so yeah, there's that. I will read that eventually. Probably be at the bottom of my pile to read. So next up is part of my gender game book series. I got this from my boyfriend's mom. I'm just about reading the series. If you saw my What I'm Reading Now books video, I'm reading book 3, but I just brought book 4 out. It's called The Gender War. I can't read the back, so it kind of gives a spoiler that you would only know if you read books 1, 2, and 3. But basically, you can tell it's about a war. There's 7 books in the series, and I'm currently on book number 3, and it's a really good sci-fi book about 2 nations, one which is ruled by men and one which is ruled by women. That's really all I can say. If you want to know more, I'd recommend you read a sample or look up something about it on Google. Although you have to be careful because sometimes there are spoilers out there. Although I would recommend doing that with any book you want to read, reading a sampler or looking it up, kind of thing. For a lot of books, though, Google Books, if you just look them up, you can get like a quick sample of them. So next up is a video I've had in my, I believe, a library video and a book haul or what I'm reading book video I did in 2020. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Oh, one second, I just remembered. For the Gender War, it's by Bella Forrest with 2 R's. But anyways, this is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. It's about a girl who lives alone, spends her days drinking wine and spying on neighbors. Then this couple with this teenage son move in, and she thinks they're a perfect family, but she sees something like shocking one night out the window, and her world begins to crumble, and she's not sure what's real and what's imagined and what's going on exactly. And there's a big twist in it. I already know what happens in the end because I skimmed ahead, but I'm actually currently still reading this, but I put it on hold for a while because I got into other books and kind of got too busy to read this one, so I'm going to have to restart it. But there's also a movie that I will be watching eventually. So next up is the most recent Hunger Games book by Suzanne Collins. It is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and it's about President Snow's teenage years, and it's called Ambition Will Fuel Him, Competition Will Drive Him, but Power Has Its Price. It's not called that, it says that on the back. But basically it's about 18-year-old Coralina Snow is preparing for his one-shot glory as mentor in the games. It's fallen on hard times. I guess he lives in the capital. He wants to mentor the winning tribute. The odds are against him. That's me. Sorry about that, guys. He has to mentor a tribute from District 12, and he's embarrassed, basically. So it's about his life. As a teenager, it sounds like. I haven't read it. This, again, is a borrowed book from my boyfriend's mom. She read it, thought it was good, so she wanted me to read it too. So next up is a book I got from a book sale at the library. I got this book for $1.50, I believe. I've already read it and seen the movie, but I decided to own it. I wanted to. It's Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. It's basically about Susie Salmon, who's already in heaven, and tells us basically the life of a 14-year-old, which is her. and she sees how her family is surviving after her death, and then you see her explore heaven and kind of about her life before getting to heaven, before dying. Not going to say too much more because it'll ruin it. This book is for my little sister. It's called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Let me see who it's by. It's by Laura Numeroff. And just about If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. It's a pretty popular childhood book. If you haven't read it, I would encourage you to because it's really good. But yeah, I'm going to give it to my little sister. So next is also a book from that I borrowed from my boyfriend's mom. It's called A Man Called O. It's by Frederick Bachman. He has written My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You I'm Sorry, which I read it before and I loved it. So I decided to get this one too to read it. It's basically about O, who's a very grumpy man with principles, routines, and a short fuse. People think him bitter and he thinks everyone else is an idiot. His world gets shaken up with new neighbors coming in, a young couple and their 2 boisterous daughters, who accidentally flatten his mailbox with their U-Haul. And I guess they form a friendship or something, and just about that. So, which it would seem pretty boring based on that description, but believe me when I say Frederick Bachman does not do boring. So next is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. There is a movie based on this, I do believe. So it's about a sacred oath, a fallen angel, forbidden love. So basically Nora and Patch have to be lab partners, and Nora doesn't want to have to put up with him because he's elusive, teasing, and handsome with hypnotizing eyes. But she breaks down because she's curious about him, and he seems to know where she is and what she's thinking. He attracts and repulses her and has V-shaped scars on his back. So then she decides if she wants to be with him or not, or be friends with him or not, something like that. I would say the blurb on this isn't very descriptive or doesn't do it justice, but I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I want to read it. The next up is a book by Annie Ward. It's called The Beautiful Bad. Well, not The Beautiful Bad, just Beautiful Bad. And it's about Maddie and Ian's love story began at a party overseas while she was visiting her best friend Joe. Now, almost 2 decades later, they are married with a beautiful son and living their perfect American life. But when a camping accident leaves Maddie badly scarred, she begins attending writing therapy where she gradually reveals her fears about Ian, her concerns for her safety, and the couple's tangled and tumultuous past with Joe. From the electric streets of the Balkans to a quiet suburb in Kansas, 16 years of love and fear, adventure and suspicion accumulate in the day of the killing when a frantic 911 call summons the police to the scene of a shocking crime. Beautiful Bad shows that appearances are deceptive, and even the most seemingly perfect couples have something to hide. And then this says at the top, it seemed like such a beautiful marriage. So I'm guessing it's going to be like a little thriller with a little romance thrown in. Obviously, something bad happens, the friend's involved in their marriage somehow, it seems like. Or there's something going on behind the scenes, so it sounds pretty good. So next up, we have another book by Bella Forrest. It is Write, Edit, Kill, and it is a page-turning serial killer thriller. It says, leave a review, he might be after you. Join Erin Bond on a chilling new case, the most unique of her career. And then this one is another Bella Forrest one called Lights, Camera, Gone. It's another serial killer thriller. This one says about a star who does a daring full nude shoot on Wall Street. And the entire world seems to be turning against her. She gets rants, insults, and death threats, but never like this before. Her statement was supposed to be empowerment of women, but in a show of taking her body back from people who claim it to own it, but people don't get that. She vanishes in broad daylight from her hotel. Private Inspector Erin Bond gets a desperate call from Isabel's manager to join police, force the police and find it. Erin suspects she's in for the ride of her career, but given Erin's own celebrity status as an abducted child, she never thought it could become the ride of her life. Nothing is as it seems in the search for Isabel Morales. So it's basically the same detective as this one, Erin Bond and Erin Bond. I think this might be like a part 2, but I don't think they necessarily have to be read together. So actually we did end up getting through those books. I'm kind of surprised. Like looking around to make sure I didn't miss one, but I didn't. Sorry that was so fast paced. I didn't want to give spoilers away, but then I also kind of wanted to give my own descriptions just because the description of the book sometimes don't seem interesting and don't do it justice. If you want to know about any of those books or want a video about any of those books or anything like that, let me know down below. Or my survey. The new survey will be in the description link. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all the support. It means a lot to me. I hope this video is relaxing and helped you sleep, and I'll see you next time.